was thinking of doing the boom like Mark Lobliner, but that's too loud.
No.
Lobliner. He's coming here. I don't know when. Sometime next month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometime next. We're a little bit less than a month away.
That's going to be exciting.
He's fiery,
Mm-hmm.
to say the least.
Boom. Yeah, we're live.
I think for as much as he talks about being hated, I think a lot of people actually like him. I think people have gotten used to him, maybe. He's not everybody's cup of tea, I understand, because he could be like, he could be maybe annoying because he's got a lot of energy, but...
I watched a lot of his videos when I was younger. I never got a feeling of hating him. He always seemed just very energetic and loud.
Fuck, he's got energy, doesn't he?
Yes.
He's not everyone's cup of tea, but maybe everyone's pre-workout.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he seems like he's on a lot of pre-workout.
Uh-huh.
You know, one of the worst things that I think can happen to any one of us here, you know, there's a lot of bad things that can happen, but one of the worst things is to be without your Piedmontese and to go off track and to go off your diet and then to spend the whole morning on the toilet and then have to adjust the time that the podcast starts and everything. You ever have that happen before, Andrew?
I mean, there's been times where I'll stray away, but like we're so disciplined. Like we don't that's not us. Like we don't right and we don't do that kind of thing.
I got here on time, yo. I was here at 7:58.
That's true.
I was here. Okay. But yeah, no, this is a tough morning. Piedmontese is great though. Like 2 days ago, not last night, 2 days ago, I had 3 steaks in a row. I had a big old bavette. I ate the whole thing. I had a center cut ribeye and I had a filet, and it was just went down the hatch, nice, easy.
What is that like 250 grams of protein in a sitting or something like that?
That bavette's more.
It's
No,
like
it has to
something.
be. Yeah, so it has to be like a little bit more than that.
The bavette is, I believe it's like 90 or 100 grams.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, and only like 8 grams of fat, and it's the size of a football, so it's really nice. Maybe a small football, Nerf, but.
How are you feeling right now? You know, dieting on low fats and still eating steak?
Dude, so the low fat stuff is incredible. Right now you have me on moderate fat, low carbs, and I'm not having the greatest time, which we can talk about later. But I'm having anywhere from like 230 and 240 grams of protein every day. And without Piedmontese, I wouldn't be able to hit that. Like it'd be really difficult to hit that while maintaining, a certain amount of grams of fat per day, and obviously carbs, just chill out on the carbs. But it's been it's been awesome. Like I don't feel like I'm getting hungry. Like I don't feel like I'm without, but like I do, like I celebrate when I get to eat that steak, because what I'll normally do is I'll eat, like a little bit of chicken throughout the day, and then at night I eat steak. Now that I'm on low carb, I'm just eating the sirloin fillets all day long. Like it's great because there's only 8 grams of fat in that whole thing. Yep. I forgot how much protein, but dude, it's nice. I eat it cold too.
I know. Sorry, I just don't do cold meats.
But that's how good it is, dude. I just a little bit of salt and then bam, straight to the face.
Yeah, I've been smashing a lot of meat. Before when I was doing my bodybuilding show a while back, I didn't know about Piedmontese. I had it before because it was at the local store down the street from me. I've had it before, but I think I only had like their hamburger meat. I don't think I really recognized that they had, and it was a fattier meat. It was like 85 or whatever. And at that time, I didn't have the steaks and stuff, so I was unaware of it. So when I did my bodybuilding show and I did the diet that I was doing, I could have chicken once a day, I could have fish once a day, and I can have steak once a day. But it was always hard to pick steak because, like, the type of steak that I could get, I was very limited. Hani Rambad, who was setting me up with this diet, he was like, hey, try to get stuff that has, less than 10 grams of fat in like a serving or even in a sitting, and I was like, damn, okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, because I was trying to have like maybe around 60 or 75 grams of fat. I forget exactly what it was per day. And it was just like, all right, well, I guess I just won't eat steak because it was like too risky, certain cuts. And the ones that I like, they usually have more fat in them. But with Piedmontese, I mean, you could still eat Piedmontese quite a bit and still, especially if you pick the leaner cuts. Some of them have hardly any fat in them at all. Flat iron steak. It's really high in protein and super lean, and they still taste really good. I know people hear us talk about that all the time, and they're like, you have to be full of shit because it's not possible for the steak to be that lean. But It is. You got to take our word for it and go over, check them out, and buy up some of the steaks. You can get the Jacked and Tan pack, and you'll get some of the leaner steaks that they have. But even just in like a ribeye, something that normally has a good amount of fat, their center cut ribeye I think has about half the amount of fat as a well marbled ribeye. And I know that people are like, oh, the marbling, but just trust us, it will taste really good. It'll be different too. Like that doesn't mean you never eat a regular ribeye again. And we're also not trying to tell you that fat is bad. We need fat in our bodies, and we need some of those fat calories sometimes. But sometimes when you want to cut up and you want to lean out a little bit, maybe lose a couple lbs, I think a lot of the Piedmontese steaks just gives you more options in your diet rather than sitting there eating chicken and broccoli all day.
Yep.
Absolutely. For more information on these amazing steaks, please head over to Piedmontese.com. That's Piedmontese.com. At checkout, enter promo code Power Project for 25% off your order. And if your order is $99 or more, you get free 2-day shipping.
How is your butt doing now? Because I saw you just like kind of look puzzled for a second there. I don't know if you were thinking about like what we're going to talk about today, or if you were like, man, I don't know how this is going to go.
No, I just felt a little drop. Like not drop outwards. It's just like a drop here. It just moved.
Oh, so I was reading you really well.
Yeah, actually.
It was just like that bubble guts feeling where you're like, oh, well, if you need to leave, then we'll understand. I think maybe you've had to leave once before.
Yeah, it was actually just a few weeks ago. I forgot.
Whatever you do,
podcast
don't
it
shit
was.
that white T-shirt that you're wearing.
Oh, no.
I won't.
Yeah, and it's the kind of poop that will go up your back, too, because that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll just get everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, this morning I've already gone like 3 times, and
Fumble.
No.
I'm gonna get that. And like it was already a lot. So I think I'm partially emptied out as is.
I've been messing around with a little bit of fasting recently, and Nsima, you were mentioning a movie that you saw, a documentary where they had some fasting in it, and I saw a documentary last night that I watched. I think Andrew picked up on some of it also. It was called something Lolly, right? Is what it was called?
Fat Lolly to 6-pack Lolly or something like that.
Right.
On Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and it's this entrepreneur that grew up. He grew up very obese. He grew up very fat. He was a fat little kid. They show video footage of it and stuff like that. And he was just kind of always viewed as like the chubby little cute kid. And I think he felt like maybe he wasn't taken very seriously, and he was teased and made fun of and stuff. So, he had a lot of love in his family. He had everything that he needed in his family, but he also mentioned that he didn't realize, but they grew up fairly poor as well. And anyway, he toughened himself up over a period of time and ended up being a really well-known entrepreneur. He owns his own like real estate firm or company or something like that, and he was able to build that up quite a bit. And the home that he's speaking from is like, some beautiful place in like New York City, it looks like, or something like that. As he's telling the story, and he's telling the story as like a ripped bodybuilder, and he keeps showing old videos and old footage, and he documented. I just thought it was really cool because regardless of how people feel about this guy, or how people feel about, he ends up having a surgery to skin removal surgery, and he takes this thing to great lengths, regardless of people's personal thoughts about this guy. I really admired the fact that he just said, screw it, like, I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to follow through with it. And it happened in like 9 months. He got in crazy shape in 9 months. He weighed like 330.
Wow.
And he lost like 120 or 125 pounds. And not only that, during this whole time, I don't know if this fit the same time frame or not, or if it's outside the time frame, but he got the skin surgery and stepped on stage for a bodybuilding show. It was just, it was amazing. And I know people will watch it probably and they're like, I can't do any of that because I don't have money, because he just kept hiring people for stuff. There's a lot of people that have a lot of great opportunities and don't take advantage of them. There's a lot of people that have friends or have family members that know a lot about nutrition, we have a lot of resources around us. Let's just face it. And look, if you wanted to, we know you can go on YouTube, right? Like you can go on YouTube and look all this stuff up. You can even just type in on YouTube how to lose 100 pounds, and you'll find 50 videos on how to lose 100 pounds. So this guy just used the resources that were available to him, and obviously, having the extra money made a difference. But he did CrossFit, he did bodybuilding, he did some powerlifting. He had some really good personal trainers, but two of my favorite parts of the whole thing is one, that he did bodybuilding, because I think he did bodybuilding some justice, because bodybuilding, we talked about it yesterday a little bit, building muscle mass is for everybody.
Yes.
Everyone can benefit. I say strength is never a weakness, but having more muscle mass on you is never a weakness either. Obviously there's some guys that are like, 300 pounds and have tons of muscle that we could say, oh yeah, they probably don't really need any extra muscle. But
Whoa.
for most people do need extra muscle, and muscle can just help chew up calories for you. Your body with muscle on it could be working for you all the time and could be burning excess food up that you might enjoy from time to time. So I really love the fact that he did bodybuilding. The second thing I admired about it, and this is actually probably the best thing about the entire thing, is he filmed so much of this shit on his own. And I know how difficult that is, doing doing vlogs and doing 100 days of carnivore and filming it every day. Like, it sucks. Like, after a while it sucks, and it messes up family dynamics. There you are with your camera filming yourself. You feel like a narcissistic asshole.
Yeah.
It's all really, it's a strange thing to have to do, but he wanted to document it. And then he put it into this, I didn't finish the whole entire thing. I need to watch the rest of it. But, it appeared to me that like he made the movie himself, because he filmed so much of it, and looks like later on he filmed, hired a film crew and then probably sold it to Netflix or something like that. But an amazing story. I think everybody should give it a shot. Everyone should watch it. Inspirational, a lot of great motivation in there. He also talked about how he was working out for a while, and then he wasn't really making any progress. He was just lifting, and he was just getting sweaty, and he was working his ass off, but he lost like hardly any weight at all.
What was the difference then for him when
the food, yeah,
okay.
The diet. So he just kind of didn't know. He was like, I know I need to exercise. So he exercised for like 2 or 3 months, and he had literally hardly any progress at all. He got in better condition, so the workouts were easier, and he liked that. But he was like, I'm lying to myself, because I'm still the same person. I just happen to move around a little bit more. So then he took it upon himself to learn more about nutrition.
Yeah, and for how much filming he was doing, you can tell he's just doing selfie. So it's like his cell phone for 90% of all of this. And iPhones are so great, like it looks good the whole time. But even just keeping track of everything is such a pain. Like, it sucks, dude. Like, I've edited, some of my vlogs and stuff, and then been like, I can't believe I forgot this entire shot. It's so frustrating because you're not going to go back. But just keeping track of everything is really, really tough. And then I think it was his like company that maybe formed because of this documentary that produced like the whole thing. And it's on Amazon Prime. I don't know. I think you just need a Prime account to get it. But it's yeah, dude. It was I had a lot of emotions flowing just because it was his daughter that was like, I don't want you to, or you're fat, I don't want you to die.
Yeah.
Because his wife, what happened? He was about to sit down and just have a big old meal. Like, he was excited, looking forward to it. And he had fries, and his daughter went and tried to like grab some. His daughter went to grab some. The wife was like, no, you can't eat that because you're going to get fat. And she's like, well, what's fat? And so they looked it up. And then now she's like, oh, daddy, you're fat. And so that's what like really fueled this whole fire under him. And, having kids, like that's super motivating.
Yeah. I really like the fact, because I haven't seen it yet, but the one thing I do really like about it so far from what you guys have said is that he did show the part of it where he was working out like a maniac and he wasn't dropping anything, right? And the funny thing is, like, dealing with your nutrition is like not very expensive. It's not an expensive thing to do. It's not I wouldn't say it's difficult, because when we break things down, when we talk about nutrition on this podcast, it's like a lot of protein, maybe lower your carbs if you want to, or keep your fat at a good place, and maybe just fast a little bit. It's like the concepts of it are really easy. And if you get that handle, you can drop really easily. But it's funny because people, and even me in the past, I try to figure out what supplement can I take. I'm about to have to get off this mic in a second.
Oh, no.
I try to figure out like what supplement would I take that'll be that magic bullet for me, that's gonna like that'll give me more energy in the gym, or that'll work well for me. It's funny because at a certain point, especially as a teenager, you take something and you'd be like, yeah, okay, now we can go work out. And you'd feel like it gives you something, even though it ain't doing stuff. It's like you want to give that power to something else rather than understanding that you have it all. You have all the ability yourself, and you don't need to do all that.
Yeah, you reach for the fat burner because you're like, this is going to accelerate it, and
it's going to make me sweat more.
Yeah, it's going to make me sweat. It's going to increase my metabolism, and it might help a tiny bit, but just taking care of yourself, training and sleeping, lifting, pushing that for that extra rep or that extra set, or trying to lift a little bit more weight than you did last time, or just not skipping a workout. Just turning in a little earlier, maybe waking up a little earlier. Like all those things are going to be the things that are going to, really lead to you burning fat better. Better sleep habits, better just overall health habits. Those are going to be the things that are going to really, and just kind of constantly running through your brain, like keep moving, keep moving. Like, do I need to be sitting down right now? Like, do I need to? Sometimes you do need to relax. So it's okay to relax, okay to chill out and calm down. But did you do all your work? Did you do everything that you wanted to do for the day? Are you heading towards the goal that you talked about or wrote down? If you're not, then you need to fucking get back up and go outside and hit up a walk.
Yeah, what I liked at the very, very end, like even as the credits are rolling, somebody who are filming is like, oh, people are going to say that you only did this because you were rich and you had, everything available to you. And he's like, hey, obesity doesn't discriminate whether you're rich, poor, whatever, doesn't matter, male, female. He's like, it can get anybody. And then it showed him like spending, I think like $92 at the grocery store. He's like, that used to be just the tip at like a restaurant where I ate a bunch of crap. He's like, if you're able to get fat, like you're able to afford to get in shape because you're gonna buy less food or something. Like he said it really well, and it was just kind of like in passing almost. And I think that was really important because watching it, you can tell he's flying in coaches left and right. He says at one point he's training I think 3 times a day, and each session was like 3 hours long or something. So like
what? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all that's all he did.
Okay.
For essentially a little bit over a year up to the show, and when I'm looking at that, I'm like, well, okay, yeah, you got hell of time to be able to do that. But he's absolutely right. It doesn't matter. anybody can figure something out. You can, like Mark said, you can YouTube something and figure out how to lose weight, or how to, how does this guy get through an hour of cardio? It's like, oh, he watches Netflix. Shit, I should do that. Pretty simple.
I think it also became a thing for him. It was
absolutely.
It was like Biggest Loser. So he was trying to do it a certain amount of time. He had cameras on him, and once the videos he was shooting kind of turned into a movie concept, I think is when he was like, now I really have to push through because there's more people following on social media and so forth. And so I think he just kind of took it to the next level. But it is very interesting that whether you have everything or whether you have nothing, both those things are not really great in terms of, fending off obesity. They really don't have anything to do with it, but they kind of do. Because we've heard a lot of conversation about like food deserts and how people in some of these urban areas sometimes there's more diabetes is prevalent, but is it because of the types of people that are there, or is it because of the fact that they don't have good quality, they don't access the good quality foods? And then when people are wealthy, I think a lot of us would be like, yeah, man, if I had dough, I'd just go out every night and have a good time and eat the best foods in the world. But I think from a standpoint of if you do like to eat out often, do you always have to have a full meal every time you go out? You could probably have a steak before you went to the restaurant and just have a very normal meal. I mean, you don't need to you don't need to have the appetizer and everything and dessert and all that stuff. I know that's what people are used to, but I think that builds into some really bad habits.
It does. It really does. I think I'm gonna tie this into what we're talking about because I was also watching a documentary. It's called Unwell on Netflix, and I told you there's some fasting in that one. But there's an episode where it's about like breast milk, and it's about like they talk about bodybuilders, using breast milk for gaining muscle or, having that extra edge. And they're buying this black market breast milk on the internet. It's wild. I didn't even know it was a thing until this, but apparently you both did, which is interesting to me. But when I was watching it, there's this bodybuilder that they had, right? And he was talking about how he was like, yeah, like breast milk's great. It's gonna be my secret weapon on the cut I'm about to do. And he has a bit of body fat on him, but he's like, if I had this breast milk, I'm about to get cut up. And he said it was his secret weapon, but I was like, dude, you're like, you don't need that breast milk. Like, you are the secret weapon. If you just handle your nutrition, you don't need your breast milk. It's just some extra fat and protein. You have everything you need. You don't need this extra source. And it kind of like, I never did breast milk, but it just reminded me of when I was younger, and I was just like trying to find all these different things to take in, not my nutrition, just these different things to take in to help me like burn a little extra fat, or like this new extra type of workout, or this new extra type of like thing that would be beneficial. But it's really not. It doesn't do anything.
Well, if you were to think about it, does would breast milk burn body fat?
Nope.
I mean, I don't see a lot of lean babies out there, right? They usually got some chub on them. So I think if anything, breast milk is going to be dense, calorically dense.
Yeah.
It's going to have sugar in it and fat, which in nature, maybe somebody else listening to the show right now can think of something else, but there's nothing else in nature that is high in carbohydrate and high in fat other than like milk, right? And that's, we have it from, whether it's cow's milk or whether it's, human milk, it's a little bit high in everything. It actually has a nice amount of protein in it as well. But it's not found anywhere else in nature. There's not a plant or animal meat that has carbs in it and has fat. I mean, sometimes you run into certain things like an avocado, which is like a fruit, and it has a little bit of carbohydrate in it. It has some fat in it. I don't even know if it has protein. But, like just try to think of all the different foods that in nature, you don't ever see that. And so what is breast milk for? Breast milk is to be like anabolic and help you gain, not necessarily like cut or shred. But even having said that, I don't think anyone should necessarily think that that's going to be the thing that's going to help them get big.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to do much of anything. And if it does something, maybe it's a little boost mentally, I guess. But it just sounds like an odd practice as well.
It does. And it just reminds me of like the way like all these different types of foods are marketed, like, oh, have this superfood berry that's going to help you burn this or whatever. And it's just it just doesn't make sense, because it's like we talk about here, it all comes down to the simple things you do every day, moving a little bit more, the food that you put in your mouth, and then the food that you don't put in your mouth, and then a little bit of extra sleep so you can work out pretty well. It's really just a few easy steps.
You were saying the movie talked a lot about fasting and had people recovering from cancer and stuff like that too, right?
There's episodes on like ayahuasca, tantric sex, breast milk, and then there's an episode on fasting. And the fasting episode is really, really cool because they did have individuals that were against fasting. Like they had this one doctor who, she was like, oh, it's too dangerous, you shouldn't go whatever without, eating. And she just sounded kind of ridiculous. And you also had some people that actually, it was documented that their cancer went away much faster, their tumor shrunk faster, with some like fasting and some chemotherapy. There were 2 people on the documentary that happened to. And there's also clinics that do pure water fast. So it was really interesting to see how some people are doing it. But I think that one thing is like the documentary talks about the extremes. Like it was focused on the, 28-day water fast. There was a little bit of some guys that were doing like 16 to 18 hour fasts or whatever, which it was benefiting them a lot, but it's like it concentrated on the outskirts of what people are doing just because that has more entertainment value. But overall, it was a pretty good episode showing how beneficial it can be, and a lot of the reasons why I still do it. Why, I don't know, you still do it to an extent, right?
I fast, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not that crazy. It's just not eating for a little bit.
Yeah, I'll pose the same question that I had asked you guys off air, because there are some people that are, it's like fasting doesn't do anything. It's just the fact that you're not eating, therefore you're going to be in a caloric deficit. Is there any magic to like, I'm going to fast for 16 hours and then all this autophagy and unicorns are going to pop up out of nowhere at 24 hours and so on and so forth? So is there something additional going on there, or is it just the fact that you are in it's a little bit easier to be in a caloric deficit?
I would say that being in a caloric deficit is kind of magical in and of itself, and whatever way you can find to get there without like with the least level of misery possible is great. So you can use fasting, you can use protein, and you can use fiber. You know, you can use those three things. I think I'm trying to think if there's anything else really, but I guess you can drink water because water can kind of like, I don't know, fill you up a little bit, but it might not do much. But yeah, I think fasting, keeping that protein high, and fibrous greens or vegetables of some sort can help fill you up and help make and just help make the entire day easier in terms of keeping your calories down. Not necessarily in terms of fasting, but fasting for me, I really enjoy it because I would rather personally, the would you rather game, I would rather eat 2 or 3 large portions of food rather than 4, 5, 6 smaller portions. Like, I don't want to carry around food with me. I just don't. Like, if I had a regular 9 to 5, which I kind of don't, but I am here usually almost every morning until like about 2 p.m. or so, and it's really, really rare for me to come in here with food. I have here and there, but for the most part, I would rather not deal with Tupperware. I'd rather not deal with like cooking something and then having to figure out, okay, I'm going to microwave it, or I don't need any of that. Certainly not while I'm here at work. And I advise other people to do that too. People who are like, I don't understand what to do. Just don't eat. Just fucking stop eating and shut up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where the magic is, man. Like, when you see like the typical like American diet, individual eats all day. They eat their breakfast, they eat their snack, they eat this. And the thing is, not only do they eat all day, they feel that they need to eat all day. So when they wake up, their stomach's growling and they're like, fuck, I'm hungry, I'm starving, right?
Yep.
If they just manage to miss breakfast and noon comes, they're like, oh, I'm starving. Okay, I'm going to eat a big meal, right? You actually really feel like you have to eat that food. Like, if you don't eat that food, you feel like you're going to have low energy during the day. It's going to be horrible. You really do feel that way. Me coming from the bodybuilding background, you're supposed to be eating every 2 hours. Like, that's where I started. I started with like, I'm eating every 2 to 3 hours.
You got to fuel your body.
Got to fuel. And when you get used to eating that much, when you don't have your meal after even your third meal, when you don't have it, you're like, oh, I'm so hungry. I'm so irritated. I have to eat.
I'm hangry.
I'm hangry, right? Like, you really feel like you need that, right? So for me, I think the magic was when I started doing it, after a while, I was like, whoa, I don't have to eat and it's 1? Like, I don't even feel hungry. What is this? What is this voodoo? Like, it legit was magical to me because I never knew that I could actually feel that way of not having a massive appetite all throughout my day. And then it just pushed and pushed and pushed. And then I could eat 2 meals and be okay. Like, I could just not eat for 16 hours and live. Wow. And that's a wild concept. And then the other thing is, like, I thought that, I was going to lose a bunch of muscle and a bunch of strength, which didn't happen because I just made sure to get all my protein in, right? So I think that the big thing that it does for individuals that do choose to take that route as far as creating a deficit and trying to achieve fat loss is understanding that, food doesn't have to rule the things that you do throughout the day. Like, you don't have to eat all throughout the day to be able to lose fat or even to be able to gain muscle.
Follow me on this one, right? So people always complain about cost, right? They complain about cost very often when you talk about a carnivore diet or keto diet because they see the price of meat, right? And they're like, oh man, meat's expensive. And yeah, meat is going to be more expensive than just a pile of carbohydrates that are, being sold as potato chips or whatever it might be at the store. But I've come to the conclusion that, you've heard people say this all the time. They say time is money, right? So if we're to say that is true, I believe a lot of people do kind of believe that. If we're wasting a lot of time, maybe we're burning up a lot of potential opportunity that we could be inventing, creating, working, learning, any of these things that can make us more profitable, can help us monetize our life in some way. If you eat like a donut and you're not happy with your body, you just wasted your time and you spent money on something that's not productive for you. It's going to take you time to figure out and cause you a lot of anxiety because you already don't feel good about yourself. You're like, oh man, I don't feel comfortable with my shirt off in the summer, or I don't, feel comfortable with my shirt off at the beach, or whatever these things are. Well, now you have to figure out, what am I going to do with this extra energy that I got from this stupid donut? Yes, it did taste delicious and I enjoy them. But I wish I kind of made a better choice. So I have kind of noticed that there is a relationship between time and food. The more food that you eat, the more you have to figure out how you're going to spend your time burning it off, or what am I going to do with this extra energy? Like I got to go to the gym tomorrow. Okay, I gotta fast for 24. Like now, if you ate really bad on one particular day, yes, you can counteract it by fasting for 24 hours the next day, or fasting for a large portion of the next day, cutting back on overall calories, however you want to do it. But you could have just simply not eaten that thing in the first place. Mm-hmm. We talked yesterday about potentially like, I don't know how the calorie equation, factors in, and I don't know a ton about it, 'cause I never really looked at it, to be honest with you. But I do think that the amount of calories that your average person needs, that doesn't lift, that doesn't do any other type of exercise, they don't do stuff outdoors, I think it's really, really low. I think it's probably potentially, much lower than what people think. I think there's a lot of people that could probably have, 1,500, 1,700 calories, and that would be perfect for them to not only continue to be in good shape, but to continue to lose some weight. So that's what I've noticed over the years, is that I see a lot of people, they're like, oh man, I really love chips. I really love fries. And like, hold on a second. Let's walk through this. Do you really love them that much that you have to, the next day you're going to be paying for this because you said that. Now this is for people that aren't comfortable with their body. If you're comfortable with your body and you are happier with French fries and donuts and these things in your life, then that's up to you. That's your decision. I'm not going to try to influence that at all. But if you're being honest with yourself and you don't feel good every time you look in the mirror and you're like, oh man, I wish I could, stop wishing and start being more interested in it and start paying attention to, are you really going to follow through with this plan or not? You have an opportunity to do it. No one's stopping you from doing it. And I think if you kind of just look at your food as sometimes being a waste of time, sometimes it's great. Sometimes it enhances the opportunity. It enhances the mood. It enhances the people you're with, because we want to be social. People often say that they have a bad relationship with food, but I think the relationship is with people, because sometimes people have a really bad relationship with food where they wait for everybody else in the house to go to sleep and then they raid the pantries and things like that. But for the most part, we usually eat bad when we're with somebody else. And a lot of times we even blame somebody else. Like, oh, it's my girlfriend or it's my wife. My wife really loves pizza, And it's like, well, that doesn't mean you had to eat a whole pie, dude. Like, she only had one slice. You could have. My woman. Yeah. We kind of, or you go to the movie theater and you can't go to the movie theater without having the popcorn with the butter on it and some peanut butter cups. Or we've all learned that you can go to the movie theater and not have. I've gone to the movie theater and not even had water before, which is like, yeah, it's a different experience. But after you do it a couple times, it doesn't bother you. You get used to it.
Mm-hmm. Let's go down that rabbit hole real quick of the individual that only needs 1,500 calories, because I'm going to preface this and
we're
say,
talking about Andrew.
Let me preface
close
this
right now.
I know you are. I want to preface this and say that if you're dieting, I'm not saying that you should diet at 1,500 calories, but let's think of like most people's lifestyles. You have a 9 to 5. Most people aren't the bodybuilder that can work out or that is working out 6 to 7 hours, or not 6 to 7 hours, but 6 to 7 days a week, 2 hours each workout. Maybe they can manage a workout a day for 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, maybe they like lifting and they don't like to run and do cardio. Maybe they can walk a little bit, but for most of the time they're sedentary. This individual isn't burning that many calories each day. But the struggle of this individual is that they maybe eat a breakfast, a lunch, a snack, and dinner. And what happens is that these meals end up being really, really small. After they eat their first meal in the morning, they start feeling hungry throughout the day. And when they try to diet, they're like, wow, these diets are too difficult because I'm feeling so hungry all day long and I'm only eating 1,800 calories. When you split that into a few meals, It ends up being really small, unsubstantial meals. Now this individual got themselves used to just not eating in part of their day, right? Maybe just the first half of their day, the first 12 to 14 hours of their day. And instead, they had 2 pretty hefty 750 calorie meals that would keep them full, that had a lot of protein. That becomes a lot easier because for a big part of your day, you're not even thinking about food, whereas before you were thinking about food the whole day. It just literally just changes the way they approach food and dieting. And then dieting doesn't even feel like freaking dieting. That's what's going on here. You know, that's it. And again, they don't have to add hours of cardio in the mix. We are all advocates of resistance training, but not everyone has the ability to work out 2 hours a day or even an hour and a half or have 90 minutes because a lot of people have families, right? So they can only get in maybe 30 to 40 minutes. And it just, that ends up making everything a lot easier. That's what we're talking about here. 1,500 calories actually it's a decent amount for your average American. That I'm talking about, the person that lives that type of lifestyle.
Well, you got to keep in mind that a lot of people are overweight. You know, they have excess body fat on them. Body fat is going to call out for food. Like body fat, it wants you to continue to eat. It can drive hunger up. We know this. I mean, there's, you know, a lot of information out there about that. Someone that's 240 doesn't want to eat like they're 170. But someone that's 240, they oftentimes want to weigh 170. And it would be very hard for them to go from, you know, eating the way that they normally do down to eating, you know, to somebody that would weigh 170. So they have to do it in incremental steps. They got to eat like someone that's 220 or 230 first. And they got to kind of bring some of those calories down. They got to figure out, you know, ways of exercising and stuff. But really all of it ends up being a huge time commitment. It ends up being a lot of changes in your nutrition, a lot of changes in your habits that you have to comb over kind of every day, and you have to try to work on and improve. But if you just don't accumulate a lot of body fat in the first place, and you listen to some of these rules, then you don't have to, like you said, you don't have to really be on a diet. You know, everyone's always on like a real strict, tight diet. And I think that what you're going to move on to like right now, or what you're going to move on to next, shouldn't be a diet. It should be a way that you're eating all the time. Like I eat this way similarly 95% of the time probably, or maybe 90%. I don't know. But I eat this way often. Like I've been eating this way. I've been eating in a similar way since I was like 13. As soon as I found out about like protein and muscle, I'm like, all right, I'm going to just eat more protein. I remember like, I was like, okay, I think cheese has protein in it. And I was like, oh, cool. Eggs have protein in it. And I just was kind of trying to be more conscious of like, I'm going to eat more of that stuff because that's going to help me have more muscle mass. And I've been doing it ever since. And so I think that people should really stop trying to, I know like I have like a war on carbs and some of these things are just, they're plays on like a theme, you know, just to get you excited, get you in the door, to get you to do something. But I would love to see you do it or practice something similar to it forever, for the rest of your life. And that's the truth, because you don't get in shape, and then you don't have an opportunity once you're in shape to be like, all right, guys, I'm here, like I'm in. It's like, well, no, you got to keep staying in. Like, we're going to fucking kick you out. You're going to be off the team in 10 seconds if you start eating like shit again, because you'll start to slide downhill real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest issue is that if people were like, okay, I want to do 1,500 calories, they have no idea what that looks like. You know, they're like, oh, but I'll have my my slow churn, you know, whatever ice cream because it's a little bit less calories. And it's like, oh, there go all 1,500 of your calories.
Do I count my morning coffee?
Yeah, with the exactly.
I just
Sugar
want
and
to
heavy
preface
cream.
this again. We're not telling you guys to diet on 1,500 calories.
We're telling you 1,200.
Because no, there's going to be a few listeners that's like, okay, they're saying 1,500. I got to do it. So
thanks for the
I gotta
title.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
We just named
Diet
this
on
episode.
1,500 calories.
But I truly believe that in junior high or even high school that I know we talk about like, oh, students need to learn how to like balance their checkbook. They need to learn, you know, real legit life skills. But I think there should be a course where like people have to, or kids have to track their food
With whole foods.
with whatever. I mean, yeah, That's actually a really good point. I didn't think about that. But like they would be like a pain in the ass to their family because they'd be like, oh, look, you just had a pizza. Guess how many calories that is? Or like, like whatever it is, just so that way they can be more educated, because by the time they do get to college and, out of college, they should have some slight, memory of like, oh shit, like that's right. I probably just chow down on 4,000 calories on one plate.
Both of my kids have some interesting habits. Jake kind of eats pretty much whatever he wants. But he's got some interesting habits and rules for himself that they're just different. So it's actually pretty rare for him to snack. If he's going to have something, he usually has like a meal. And even though a bowl of cereal is probably more of a snack, but he'll do that on occasion. But he'll never, I shouldn't say never. He will very, very rarely have like an appetizer. Like it doesn't matter, even if it's a food group that he likes, he just won't eat it. And I asked him about it one day, and he's like, well, I think it's just extra calories, and I already have food coming. So, and he eats like whatever, he eats French fries, he eats cheeseburgers, he eats McDonald's, he doesn't have a great diet, but he has that one practice that he kind of holds on to.
Okay.
Quinn will never have a drink that has any calories in it. Although every once in a while she'll make like a smoothie, but even with that, she'll throw like a protein powder in there or something like that. And so I think, whatever habits that you can pick up and hold on to, place them at high value and try to, maybe for you like the appetizer, so maybe that doesn't work well for you, but maybe you're able to stay away from sugary drinks. Like what are some things that you can do, and then repeat those things and ingrain them into your day to day. And then you can work on some of the other stuff down the road.
Mm-hmm. Wow. No, those are two really dope things. But
they also don't really eat they don't eat them. They'll eat, but Jake eats, 3 times a day. Quinn eats like twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she'll have like a yogurt or something as a snack or something like that. But yeah, neither one of them, I'm fortunate in the fact that neither one of them is really obsessed with food. They're not like always like, oh, what are we going to eat? And like, are we getting ice cream tonight?
Yeah.
It's actually kind of weird because we have ice cream in our freezer almost every day of the week.
You guys are wild.
Yeah, there's ice cream in there all the time.
You guys are a savage family.
Yeah. And my kids, Quinn will have it a couple times a week, and Jake will have it. Jake will have it every day without fail. But he also he takes 2 scoops. He's like scoop, scoop, and he puts it back. And I'm like, how is that even? I'm like, I would just take a spoon and I'd go sit on the couch with the entire bucket of it.
Yeah, I'll say this: in recent memory, I have become more of an adult in the way that I can put like a pint of Ben and Jerry's in the freezer and not eat the whole thing. It is a very difficult task, but I've been able to do it.
I think this is a sign of you getting weaker. I don't like this new Nsima. This is bad.
Yeah, strong Nsima would eat that and then just go deadlift 900.
I'm not saying I haven't
that you can't
faltered.
Finish it.
I haven't faltered, because there have been days where I've been like, you know what, I'm gonna eat that pint. But I'm winning because there are more days now that I don't eat the pint. Right? That used to never happen.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite Ben and Jerry's?
Give me some more. It's called Give Me Some More.
I don't think so it's pretty new, right?
No. This has been out for the past 3.5 years.
Oh.
It's an exclusive flavor that they only have every few times a year. But when they have it, I get like 8. I'll store it because everyone goes to the grocery store and gets it. Yeah, it's literally the best Ben and Jerry's flavor.
I love Ben and Jerry's because they're like, fuck everybody else. We're just gonna dump tons of candy into our ice cream.
But real talk. I know that we've been talking about whole foods and being healthy. If you are a fan of Ben and Jerry's, I do really suggest that you find a way to get yourself the Give Me Some More flavor. At least try it once. Share it with your spouse, your kids. It's the best. It literally is. There's no other Ben and Jerry's.
I've never had it, but I love fish food, and fish food has marshmallow in it, so it's probably
fish food's all right.
Yeah, fish food has like a little fudge fish, and it has the marshmallow. I love that one, and I also love Tonight Dough.
Tonight Dough's really good.
Tonight Dough is really
good.
Yeah, that one's freaking awesome.
But Give Me Some More still blows them. Give Me Some More still blows them all out of the water.
What you got, Andrew?
Just
half baked is good.
Shouting
half baked is all right.
It's got brownie batter and cookie dough batter. That's pretty damn smart.
Mm-hmm. You guys are gonna not like my answer, but
oh god,
I like anything mint chip.
You're disgusting.
See, I knew it, but
I don't
also,
like mint.
No, I don't like
Chocolate.
mint either. I feel like I just brushed my teeth and then tried to
Right?
eat ice cream.
Yes.
So good. But lately, my absolute favorite right now is the peanut butter cup Halo Top ice cream. I know when I say Halo Top, people are like, oh, it tastes like flavored ice. Not this one. They legit have like real chunks of peanut butter in it. It's chocolate. It's really good. And so what I've been doing is I'll mix that with so like I still follow a bunch of stuff from Remington James.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'll take some of his recipes and then I'll mix in like some Halo Top in there. So I'll make this gigantic like ice cream shake like, with the xanthan gum.
Mm-hmm.
It rises, dude. It's so good. I get so full off of it.
Tell people how you
incredible.
use xanthan gum, because I just like I've heard people talk about it, but then you told me about it. I'm like, that's actually pretty cool.
It's super easy. Just add 3 grams to it's called like bodybuilder ice cream. It's anabolic ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So like a little bit. So I'll tell you right now. I'll see if I get exact numbers. But it's let me
It's
just
kind of like a gelatin almost, right? Like it kind of
Yeah,
hardens it up, thickens it a little bit,
it gets weird. So
gives it a little bit of bulk.
Yeah.
Mhm. So like last night, so I had 80 grams of the peanut butter cup Halo Top ice cream. I had 4 tablespoons of the like PB Fit powder, whatever, the protein, some Slingshot protein, and then a little bit of almond milk, and then 3 grams of the xanthan gum. Threw some ice in there, and it went from like, I don't know, maybe like hitting like the 16 ounce like mark on it. And then I just kept blending it. And the longer you blend it, the thicker it gets.
Oh wow.
But it gets to a point where like all of a sudden you're now eating like a soft sponge. So like you can go too far.
Yeah.
But it went up to like close to like the 20 ounce mark. And
Sometimes you got to
was
eat it
just-
with a spoon, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started eating it with the spoon, and then eventually it started to melt so I can use a straw.
That's
And-
cool, man.
Dude, trying to eat that, like the whole thing, like you start to like, oh boy, I still got like a quarter left, and you get full. And so like that little snack right there had 65 grams of protein, 26 carbs, and 10 grams of fat. So that was a whole meal for me. Okay. So, cause it was 484 calories, but that's how I ended my night. So I saved all my carbs just for that thing. Cause I really wanted that.
Yeah. And how many calories are you on right now, by the way, Andrew?
It's 6. Where did it go? I am on 1620.
1620.
Mhm.
You're doing quite a bit of lifting,
Mhm.
doing quite a bit of cardio.
Mhm.
How bad does the diet feel right now?
Doesn't feel bad at all.
Really? Not at all?
Honestly, the hardest part right as of this week is the fact that you took my carbs away.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the most difficult part. Other than that, like I said, I'm following Remington James's like cookbook recipe book.
Yeah.
So like I'm having flatbread pizzas. I'm having French toast. Like it's really dope. Like I'm not like going without anything. I almost feel like because we were talking about having like a pretty dope like epic cheat meal at the end of the photo shoot and stuff. I almost feel like I don't deserve it because like I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to have this and that. Like
Yeah.
I might have something just to like celebrate with everybody, but it's been super chill. Like fasting doesn't let me, I know that sounds funny, but fasting allows me to not be hungry. If that makes
Okay.
sense, because
Yeah.
I'm not starting the day eating something and then by 10 o'clock looking like, oh, what am I gonna eat? What am I gonna eat? No, it's like not hungry till about 12, and then I'll push it to 1, and then after that, it's like, all right, 1,600 calories, here I come.
Yeah.
So it's been nice, and yeah, you're right, cardio every day, except for today because I didn't wake up on time, and still no alarm clock. I keep waking up at 2 or 5. I can't wake up at 3. That's where I need to wake up at 3, and I can't get there. It's pissing me off.
Oh man. But
But
no,
it's been great, yeah.
no, that's the thing that I've really found out when people are trying to diet. Like, if you can learn how to do what you're doing right now, just like not eat for a while, those calories that are typically make people cry. Like if you're eating whole foods, those calories are a lot of food to eat in like 8 hours or 7 hours. It's a lot of food.
Yeah, like I'll have a salad with 85 grams of spinach. It's like,
Oh, wow.
85 grams is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like it'll fill you up. So it's been nice because like I said, I that'll be like, that's usually how I break my fast is with a big salad, and I don't feel hungry, and that could be me, because I've been doing this for a little bit now, so getting some of that momentum, but it feels good, and like Mark said, like I'm gonna just continue to do this forever. Like I don't want to go back to just feeling like crap. Like, like I kind of did towards the beginning of this year. I shredded down, I got in the best shape of my life. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, oh man, I don't like the person in the mirror right now. Not just, I don't like the way I look.
Yeah.
And for me, yeah, it's worth it to, like my wife's pregnant, so she's going to get some weird cravings. I've been in and out, I think like maybe 4 times and just got her food and left. Like I haven't had it because it doesn't even get close to fitting my macros, but it's I don't feel like I need to have it. Like I don't feel like I'm like, oh, I wish I could have it. Like no, like I'm gonna go home and have dope steak or like whatever it may be, and it's been awesome. And then the cardio has been the biggest like new thing for me, which is doing it every day no matter what. And I do that by just watching Netflix on the treadmill, and I walk or I just a brisk walk uphill. It's been chill. Yeah,
fasting, I think, it does a bunch of great stuff for us. I think maybe some things are maybe over talked about or overemphasized, but if people feel it, they feel it. I've never really felt like, I know some people are like, oh, I'm just on fire with my work, from fasting. I do seem to be able to concentrate okay and work hard, but I've always been able to do that. So I think that a caloric deficit would also do that.
Yeah.
I think, just like even if you ate, throughout the day and you just felt a little hungry all day long, I think that would accomplish a similar thing, to getting like hyper focused or whatever. But the thing that I love about fasting is, again, I like the fact that number one, you get to kind of put your calories at a different point in the day. You could stick them at the end of the day. There's also many different ways to utilize intermittent fasting. You could potentially, eat in the morning and eat at lunch and then discontinue earlier in the day.
Just be a weirdo like that.
Yeah. It is weird. It would be weird. Another thing that you can do is you can have a breakfast and then just not eat for a while, like not eat for 6 hours, 8 hours. I still consider that intermittent fasting, even though it's a different version of it because people want you kind of cleared out, I guess, for 16 or 18 hours or so. But you have to keep in mind there's some things that are going on in your body that are really important to note. One is that the fact that when you, with or without food, you have a cascade of hunger that happens throughout the day, whether you ate or not. Like I kind of feel pretty hungry right now. I mainly because probably we're talking about food, but I feel pretty hungry right now. But had I had some food at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. or something, I'd still be very hungry. Because what time is it now? So I don't even know. But
9:20.
Yeah, of course. I'd be starving right now. I'd probably feel more hungry. But there's scientific proof of this. Like there's research behind this, that your hunger is going to cascade throughout the day just because that's what we do. We have a circadian rhythm to the sun, and when the sun's out, we're probably supposed to be looking for some food, and we know at some certain points of the day we're supposed to eat. And I don't know if the way that we've eaten the 3 meals a day, if that's been going on long enough to really get into our genes or whatever, but your hormones will go up and down throughout the day regardless of whether you were to eat or not. And then also you can kind of not really kill, but you can I guess deter some of your hunger hormone by fasting. You work on it. You get used to it. And people that fast are like, oh yeah, man, it's easy. Doesn't feel, and you're like, what the fuck? How is it easy? Like it seems impossible. You just don't eat for half the day and you're fine. You're like, anytime I ever tried to not eat, I had a headache or I didn't feel good or I felt weak or, but it does take a little time to get used to. But once you get used to it, it is magical. It is a cheat code. It is a way to partition off your calories somewhere else. And I don't know all the information. I'd have to go back and look at it again, but I do believe that they have done some studies, at least for as of now, showing that if you're on a 2,000 calorie diet, whether you're on a 2,000 calorie diet and you ate throughout the day versus a 16-8 model, I think that's where this model came from. They have some research saying that the 16-8 model on the same exact amount of calories is a little bit more beneficial for you. I don't know how much more beneficial. I don't know how much that I personally believe that. I would think that the types of food choices that you had in those 2,000 calories would be, the most important thing. And I wouldn't hang my hat on that. I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna eat 5,000 calories a day, but just gonna eat it all in one meal. But there, at least for now, there is some research pointing the fact that it might be a little bit more optimal. So even just that small change of just doing that, and then could you reduce your calories a little bit from there? That should be very easy if you're going to eat 2 or 3 times a day rather than 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I had a pretty good question from Eric, and this is good because both of you have worked with a lot of people. Let me close this out. In all different walks of life, especially you and Nsima. But Eric asks, can you discuss the impact of emotional eating and how a lot of people use food as an antidepressant and the impact quarantine is going to have on emotional eating, snacking, etc.?
Yeah. That's a tough one because like right now we've talked about quarantine and trying to figure out more things to do, especially if you don't have gym access, because before quarantine, a lot of people were using exercising, getting outside, getting together with people as ways to sometimes deal with stress, feel better. Even myself, through quarantine, I realized how much I like talking to the homies. Like it makes a big difference. So I've been making much more of an effort to get out and, go sit outside on my homie's porch and just talk and stuff like that, because I could feel myself wanting to pick up bad habits. And it's happening not just to me, but to people I work with too, because some people I work with still don't have gym access, etc. And yeah, if you in the past have resorted to food and you figure out a way to fix that before quarantine, and now that's happening again, you just gotta, I think right now it's gotta figure something else out again. Something else has to be figured out. If you don't have a gym or whatever, you gotta figure out a way to do that. Because it's getting pretty bad for some people. So
I'd also say, is food an antidepressant? I would really question that. Like, I understand what he's saying. I understand that people fill in gaps with certain habits and things like that. But look, man, your food is making you fucking depressed as shit. Like, it's making you feel worse. That's the thing. That's the thing to remember. That's the thing to really pay attention to. Even just like in going to the bathroom, your trips to the bathroom when you eat better, it changes everything. Like, you very rarely have to, like, all of a sudden out of nowhere run to the bathroom when your food is on point. Once you slip up, like you did.
Lesson learned.
Yeah. Right. It's actually it changes everything. I mean, eating better is always better. It's always a better option for your body, for your brain. So I would just say, look, man, you have to understand that eating healthy is gonna help you to feel less depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we also need nutrients, though. So I know that in this show, we've been talking about like eating less, and we've been talking about like burning fat and things of that nature. But, I want to make sure that we're clear that, when we're talking about 1,500 calories and things like that, that is for people to mainly lose weight. But a lot of people just don't get enough nutrition, period. They don't eat enough, or they don't eat enough nutritious foods. So there is that side of it as well. And if you want to feel good, if you want to feel better, you probably need to, make sure that you're getting a good amount of nutrition from, various food sources. Something like the vertical diet comes to mind, where there's a little bit of fruit in there, there's a little bit of carbohydrate in there, there's some fat in there, there's some protein in there. And Stan, wants to eat like kind of certain vegetables and things like that, and you're getting vitamins and minerals. And Stan's very big on making sure that you're getting in enough sodium and potassium in your diet, and all those things are all huge factors. And we've had people on the podcast before talking about there's a direct link between your stomach and your brain. And so don't think that sitting down with a Snickers bar is going to ever solve any problems for you. It's going to make you, it will taste good and it will be rewarding for the moment, but the next, like, does it last? Is it good the next day? Like, are you still like, are you going to go into work and be like, yo, you guys won't believe what I did last night? Right? I mean, it's like not that exciting, You're like, you'd be like, you fat fuck, why'd you do that?
Think of it this way. Me and my friend were having a conversation the other day, and I don't know how we got on it, but he was like, would you ever pay for a hooker? And I was like, no, of course not. I don't think I would. Wait, follow me here. Because like, no, that's like, no, I would have never put myself in a situation where that would be necessary. But when you think about it, bad food is like it's like a cheap hooker. It feels great in the moment, potentially. I wouldn't know. Just saying, it feels great in the moment, but afterwards you feel all this regret, sadness. Maybe you want to cry because you just made a horrible mistake. And if you think of food in that sense, hey, it's like a cheap hooker. It's not good, especially that Snickers bar. It's a cheap hooker.
I think sex or even masturbation. I think it's all in the same. Sex, masturbation, food. I think they're all kind of in the drinking alcohol. Like you think these things are going to be like great for you. They think they're going to be, and a lot of times they don't normally allow you to feel better about yourself. For some reason, we're tricked into thinking that they're going to. Well, because it's going to be like pleasurable, right? But then you're not thinking like it certainly doesn't build on your character any further, right?
Nope.
Robo Hobo says, "Hey, Snickers is a classy lady."
Hey, I agree with you, guy. I agree with you, my guy.
Dude.
Not going anywhere for a while. That's their thing, right?
Yeah.
And during quarantine, you're like, yep, not going anywhere for a while. Tear up. They always tear that top off perfectly.
How do they do that?
On that commercial, they tear the top off.
Perfect.
Yeah, every time, perfectly.
It's got a nice little handle and just perfect bite.
Yeah.
Snickers, if you're listening,
We love you.
Well, we love you, but you fucked us over pretty bad when you started to break up the bars. That's bullshit.
That
Did they start doing that?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
United States has never been the same since they did that. I don't know when they did.
All downhill since.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Was it a regulation issue? Because it doesn't make any
No.
sense. You had a great, perfect bar.
It's
and then-
great having a giant bar.
Yeah, it really is.
Now you have two like mini bars. I
Dude.
think you can still get like a giant
Big
Snickers
ol' one.
bar, but
Maybe it's cheaper somehow.
Of course, yeah, because it's the same like size, but there's surface area in the middle. So now they're selling you a little bit of air where they used to be.
Mm.
it's
candy.
like their guy got like a new machine or some shit, and
It only cuts half the size.
yeah, it only makes it this way. And
I remember being a kid.
somebody
getting,
probably saved them tons of money by doing that.
Yep.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
Yep.
I remember being a kid and getting a king size Three Musketeers. It was like the size of me.
Bro.
You're
And
like,
that fucking thing never ended. Like 'cause it's so chewy.
King size bars, man, used to be my jam back in the day. Those, as a kid, you get like a king size Snickers?
oh yeah,
That was a party.
yeah, a giant ass like Charleston chew, those giant
Oh
like
my god.
Tootsie Roll type
Yeah,
things. Or
Abba
whatever.
Zaba.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
What are
snacks.
some of those things?
What's Abba Zaba?
It's like a Charleston chew,
Okay,
but like
y'all are gonna
staler,
be like, you're stupid, Nsima, but what's a Charleston chew? I know I've heard of it.
super chewy.
It's kind of like a halfway between a Three Musketeers and a Tootsie Roll. So it's like a
Oh,
chewy version
But
of
like
a
impossibly
Musketeer.
chewy. Yeah.
Okay.
They're pretty good. They're not on a level of Snickers bar.
Can we talk about why are Tootsie Rolls? Why were they ever a thing? Because
don't know.
Tootsie Rolls are like, they're one of the worst chocolate
I think-
snacks.
I
ever.
think just because they're old, like they're
Yeah?
from like a long time ago.
Okay, because like you eat them and they don't taste like real chocolate. Then they're also oddly chewy. They get stuck in your teeth, and it's just like this.
There's a lot of bad candy out there. For all the
This is my
for
favorite right here. This is from and it's episode 420, so it's perfect. But from oh my god, I can't believe I can't remember the name of this movie.
Ooh, godly.
Really, I can't remember. I've watched this
That
so
one was
many
Chappelle.
times.
I know. Oh, dang it. It's a good movie though.
Somebody in the comments right now is gonna yell at the name.
Yeah, we're pathetic.
Wow, I can't, dude. I watched this movie so many times, but yeah, this is that's an Abba Zaba.
Okay.
It stretches so far.
Real quick question before we get back to being serious, because we really should. I don't know. We somehow got to Ben and Jerry's.
Hookers
now
and
we're talking
candy.
about hookers and candy. What was like your one of your favorite kid snacks? I remember like I used to always, every time I go to the store, we'd get a bag of Cracker Jacks.
Mm.
You know, they're the
Mhm.
caramel corn type. Yeah, they were so good.
yeah,
Cracker
with
Jacks.
the peanuts in them and stuff. Yeah, those are
and
amazing.
The little sailor kid was on the front of it. I loved Cracker Jacks.
man, I liked all kinds of stuff.
Half baked. God,
Half baked. Yeah,
I can't
that's
believe I
Oh
didn't
yeah, and we
remember.
mentioned the ice cream earlier. I'm trying to think of what was like a go-to. I know like we had like granola bars and shit like that with chocolate chips in them and the chocolate chip peanut butter ones and stuff like that. But I'm trying to candy wise. I mean, I always liked Snickers bars, peanut butter cups. Always loved ice cream. I used to eat Doritos a lot.
Ooh,
Back in the day, I used to eat a lot of Doritos.
Doritos are dangerous, man.
Yeah, I used to go through like a whole bag of Doritos.
Yeah.
Doritos, peanut butter cups, and then like my parents would always get like the off-brand Oreos. So we just had like pounds of that shit, and just that's all we got. So they're a little stale, but I'm gonna eat all of them. It's delicious.
And this is why we had so many problems with food later in life.
For me, for sure. Oh, huge. Oh yeah, Frozen. Ray something says corn dogs. Yeah, I lived off of frozen corn dogs.
Oh yeah, I had a little bit of that. Frozen corn dogs were good. Yeah.
Some corn dogs.
Corn dogs. Bagel dogs is like so classy and so good though.
A bagel dog? I
Mhm.
don't think I've ever had that.
It's amazing.
You know, this makes me wonder, guys. Like,
I can see how a hot dog can go into a bagel.
I know.
It's different. It's a different shape. Like it's not like it's not a bagel like round bagel. It's more like a it's like a tube, and then the weenie goes straight through it. Yeah. With mustard, it's so
wait,
good.
it's not it's not like this. It's more round.
So imagine your
We'll bring
microphone.
it in for you.
Your microphone is the bagel shape.
Yes.
And then the hot dog goes straight through it.
Oh my god.
And it's about that size.
So wait.
too.
Oh, so I was wondering, is there a hot dog hanging out of each side of this bagel?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's weird.
It's delicious.
It makes no sense.
No, it's so good.
Sounds pornographic. Is what it sounds.
It really does.
It's
Oh,
okay. Yeah,
man.
well,
Yeah.
just on an island over here.
You were over here dying like
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Oh,
Bagel.
man.
Bagel dog.
Bagel dog.
The
Mm.
microwavable frozen pizzas too.
But yo, all of this talk really makes me just really wonder, how will I feed my kid? Because I don't want to be too anal about everything, right? Where they can't have a Snickers. But I also don't want them to like the Snickers too much, where they're like, I always want Snickers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I don't want to be one of those parents that like, oh, when my kid has candy, they get sick, or when my kid has candy, they think it's gross. They want it. I'm like, come on,
be normal.
Like, yeah. So I'm a little I'm conflicted
My
there too.
my wife bakes a lot of like she'll make, I guess you'd call them casseroles. You know, she makes a lot of like casserole type stuff. Like one of the, and she does this like in so many different ways with so many different types of meat. But sometimes we'll take like lean hamburger meat, maybe a combination of some lean and some fatter meat, just so it's not too dry. And we'll just take that and we'll have like tomato sauce with it. We try to get tomato sauce that has like the least amount of sugar in it. And then from there, sometimes she might throw cauliflower in there, like almost just to give it like a little bit of like texture. Just throw Italian seasoning in there, chuck that thing in the oven, and like now the whole family has a plate full of food that has protein in it. It's moderate in fat and has a lot of protein, and it tastes really good. She'll do stuff like that with chicken sometimes. Sometimes with chicken, it's like more like different type of seasoning. We won't throw tomato sauce on that. We'll just kind of let that cook a little bit more normal. But I think with kids, most kids like chicken actually. Most kids are okay with chicken. Now, if you just give them a flat, just a regular chicken breast that has no skin on it and no seasoning on it, like they're not going to really. Kids don't dig food the way like an adult would get food. Like an adult would have like a chicken breast, a little thing of rice, and like a couple vegetables. Kids like stuff kind of all plowed together and smashed together. And so if you monster mash a lot of stuff, I guess that's kind of, my wife's foods are like, they kind of resemble like a monster mash type of deal, where it's easier to get down because the monster mash has, it's meat and rice and bone broth. We'll sometimes use bone broth with stuff. Like our kids would probably be like horrified if they knew we used bone broth. They would think it's probably gross. Really? I don't know why they would think it's gross, but maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't. But Yeah, we throw it into certain things just to give the meat a little bit of extra flavor. We try to, we're not overly health conscious though either. Like I am, and my wife is, but like our kids are just, they just kind of eat. We also try to have them eat what we're eating. So like when I sit down for dinner, and regardless of what we have, I always eat what we have. Like I'll cook a steak. I'll eat the steak, but I always eat what we're eating because I want to show them that like, hey, we all eat this. You know what I mean? Like this is good for all of us. The other thing we try to do, but this doesn't always work out, especially like in a bigger family setting. A lot of times people are like, oh, let's cook a pizza for the kids. And you're like, we have such great nutritious food right here. Why we're going to fucking cook pizza for the kids?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, of course the kids are going to be excited about pizza. And I understand that you don't think they're going to be as excited about the steak or whatever, but like, fuck them. Let's make them excited about it. Like, you know, you gotta force them sometimes, right? You gotta
fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. Hey, what's for dinner? This. Can I get pizza? No, not tonight. Tomorrow you can. We'll have pizza tomorrow. How about that?
Oh, man.
How about you shut the fuck up? Every parent is like, yeah, tell them to shut the fuck up again.
Oh man.
Great. But yeah, so when we had family over for the first time at the new crib, so I was able to cook food. Dude, I front loaded so much meat for everybody, and then kind of looking around like, where's the like, nope, here's another steak. Have fun.
Yeah.
So it's cool to be able to control what like the majority of the food that's going to be consumed without having to really be like, you shouldn't probably eat that much potato salad or whatever it may be. But it's nice to be able to control that sort of thing. And with Jazz, like, she gets pumped for steaks, dude. Like last night, she was like thrilled to have Piedmontese flat irons. It was amazing. I'm like, yeah, we did good. Like, good parenting.
It probably took some time though, too, right? You had to show her different steaks, and she probably maybe was grossed out by it at one point, and she had to get different flavors and try it a couple times, and eventually you land on something that they like.
Yeah. And she was pumped. And then if she does want, like the other day, she was doing the thing where like she goes into the fridge, comes back 5 minutes later. I'm like, do you want like breakfast or something? I'm like, do you want French toast? Like, do you want one of my like pizzas? Okay. And so like I use different ingredients to like use like more whole fat and more foods and stuff, but pizza, she loved it. And it was it's a nice alternative to like anything else that she probably would have grabbed. She might have grabbed cereal or something.
Yeah, like when both of you guys are talking about this, I think first off, both of your children are great examples of letting them have certain things every now and then, letting them even see you guys eat some of it, but you guys have good enough healthy eating habits that they kind of follow what you do in a way. Because the thing I was thinking about was like, if you never let them have it, because there's some parents you see on IG, they're like, my kids don't eat that. They eat Whole Foods, right? When this kid turns 18, 19, 20, and they're out, and then they're like,
lose it.
This is a Snickers. This is the best thing I've ever had in my life. They're just going to go fucking crazy.
Lose it. Yeah.
Right? I don't want that to happen. So give them a little bit here and then let them learn how to moderate. And I like it.
Let them learn to enjoy those foods and stuff like that. And then the other thing has gotten better for me with my kids, especially being older, is like I don't binge, because I'm like, like that's not good for them to see that. You know what I mean? Like, and also I shouldn't be doing it. So I just found it, I also found that like I just am less attracted to binging like that anymore. But it'll still happen here and there. I'll still get some like ice cream, and usually if I'm going to buy ice cream, if I'm going to go to the store and buy ice cream, I'm going to buy candy too. I'm not going to usually be like, I'm just going to get this one thing. I already know that that's not going to happen. But it's been a lot more under control. But for the kids to see like that, all the food that you have, or all the food that's around and available, can be part of a nutritious diet. It can be part of it. You can have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and mac and cheese and stuff like that. It's just, I would just be with children. I think it's good to just be mindful of how do I get them more protein? And I think the same thing of elderly people as well. Like just figure out a way, they don't really need more oatmeal or whatever. They need more protein. They need to figure out a way to continue to eat protein so they don't end up, we lose muscle mass as we get older. You need to hold that muscle mass to hold your metabolism a bit together so that you can stay strong. And if you can stay strong, you can still walk, you can still move around, maybe you can still even like run. That's gonna help you the most with longevity. It's just staying fit, staying strong, being able to continue to move around. Those are gonna be things that are gonna benefit you the most.
Still don't have a gym right now, yo? Just get a kettlebell. Get a kettlebell. I think real quick. I don't want to change subjects, but what do you think is the most cost effective thing, single piece of equipment or pieces of equipment to have in a garage right now?
Yeah, I think you could easily have a couple of bands and some kettlebells, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
I think even like I don't even know if you need kettlebells. I think you could even just have one.
You could, yeah, a good 30 or a 40 pounder, depending on your
or even
size.
a dumbbell. Like a dumbbell can be kind of used like a
both.
kettlebell. It's not as maybe not as universal, but even just like a 30 or 40 pound dumbbell. And if you're maybe not as strong, maybe a little lighter. But I don't think people that are really strong need to have some crazy dumbbell. I don't think it needs to be, like a 100-pound dumbbell or kettlebell or anything like that. I think you can get a great workout. I mean, start trying to do overhead squats even just with one 30-pound dumbbell. I mean, you're dying, right? I mean, it's freaking hard. Or thrusters or whatever it is.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yo, I think the title of this episode should be
1,500 calories.
Yeah, no, it's already.
And hookers.
You only need 1,500 calories.
I think we need to
Just
okay, so breast milk, hookers, and 1,500 calories. Do you think YouTube would not? Yeah, I think that's okay.
Maybe hookers might
be good.
Might get more views.
Okay, breast milk, the lady of the night, and 1,500 calories.
Man, that's a long title.
It's a long but breast milk and 1,500 calories has to be included.
So for YouTube, I'll keep it clean, but iTunes will go nuts.
Okay, sick. I like it.
Yeah.
Take us on out of here, Andrew.
Hope you guys had fun with us today. We definitely did. So thank you everybody for checking out today's episode. Thank you to Piedmontese for sponsoring this episode. For more information on them, please check the YouTube, Facebook descriptions, and the podcast show notes. Please make sure you're following the podcast at Mark Bell's Power Project on Instagram, at MB Power Project on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, all over the place. My Instagram is at I am Andrew Z. Nsima, where are you at?
At Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, at Nsima Inyang on Twitter, Mark.
I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never a strength. Catch y'all later. Bye.